very few questions. This time around, we also want the audience to ask questions, so it doesn't look like I'm the one asking all the questions. So if you have any questions, AWS, web technologies, uh, please feel free to start thinking about them now. So I will be starting with Olivia, and then I'll move to um, confidence. So Olivia, having read your profile and having seen that you are a Google developer expert in web technologies and you are also an advocate at AWS, I would like to ask, how do you balance your roles as an AWS developer advocate and a Google developer expert?
It is recording. Is this recorded?
Is this recorded?
Okay. How do I balance? Well, technically, so as a developer advocate at AWS, part of my role is to help developers to use our platform and our services. And as a web developer, I usually focus because we have so many services and you can use it with so many different languages. So I usually focus on either web developers or JavaScript developers. We have SDKs for all the JavaScript platforms. The way I balance it in terms of my day-to-day role is that when I apply to conferences, usually, I mean, it's a dev festival, so it's a bit different. But usually, I always propose a talk on AWS and a talk on web development.
Yeah.
And I just let the conference choose, depending on the audience. And if I get the talk on AWS selected, then that's good. If I get the one on web development, then I see someone from the company going there and talking about tech. So it's a good deal I have with the company.
Yeah, that's really nice. Win-win. It's a win-win. Just clap hands for that. Okay, my next question is going to confidence and okay. So also, having read profile and saying that you build on web applications, I would like to ask this specific question. What are some misconceptions about PWAs that you would like to debunk?
There are a number of them. Like I can think of a lot.
Yeah.
But the first is people don't know how easy it is to build progressive web apps. I think that's just the challenge. And the good thing we're having conferences like so can come to talk about these technologies and how accessible they are. So I did a talk earlier today, and the idea is just to show you how easy it is. In fact, if you took screenshots of the code of my talk, there was one service worker file I showed on screen. You took that screenshot, you typed it out, put it in any web app, you've converted it into an offline-based app. So it works without customization. You just need that chunk of code. So it's really easy. And the more you get into it and you explore all of these APIs, the easier you see that, oh, these technologies are actually being in the browser. I had been cutting myself short by not using these APIs. So I think that's one.
Yeah.
People don't know that it's so
Easy.
to get done.
So having answered that question, my next question also to you would be, why is building offline first web application important? And how can developers get started with building such kind of applications?
So we've all been in situations where we don't have good network connection. And even in the so-called developed countries, there are certain places you are that you lose network connection. So you're in a train, for example, or you are in your apartment building and trying to take the elevator from the ground floor to the floor. In those instances, you go offline. And if you're trying to do something on your phone through a web app, you are left without anything to do because there's no network connection. So because these situations occur more often than you would like to admit. And when you do occur, it's actually quite unpleasant. No one enjoys being offline, right? You want to check something on Twitter and you notice you don't have a network connection. It's really annoying, not so?
Yeah.
So the idea is using these technologies that we already have in the browser and yeah, in the browser, and in fact, in your user's devices, taking advantage of it so that we can build better experiences. Because as developers, we have that path. This is something my mom and dad can't do, but I, as a developer, can. Yeah, we have that path to change the experience of applications or software when it is offline.
Yeah, wow. That's good. Thank you so much, Confidence. Can we give him a round of applause for that? So my next question will be going to Olivia. Oh, amazing.
Sharing my
Yeah. Okay, so what's the most exciting project or tool you've worked on? Something you'd like to share? The projects you've worked on, either recently or in the past, uh, and what's exciting about it for you? What was exciting about it for you?
That's a very good question. Project have worked on and I'm excited about. There is a few actually. Okay, I'm gonna take one that failed. Project that failed. When I was at my previous job before this, I was at Microsoft, and when I was at one of the projects I was the biggest fan was Firebase,
Yeah.
and we have something similar at AWS called Amplify. Microsoft didn't have anything like that, like not the big cloud platform, just something that does the basics, hosting an app, having like a functions backend database and authentication, and that didn't exist. And there was this big worldwide hackathon in the company, and so with a friend of mine, another advocate, we built a whole system, like a Firebase clone based on Azure,
Wow.
and we arrived second in the hackathon.
It's
So
clap,
it
clap,
was
clap, clap, clap.
that was amazing. So then politics happened, and there was like people wanted the project to come out, and people wanted to bury it, and it was buried. But it was still good because even though the project didn't happen in the end, it wasn't never released. We had some like big people like from the digital team who actually saw the value in this project and in this kind of application that Microsoft still doesn't have, fortunately. But it was exciting to work on it, and it was exciting to see the excitement around it because a lot of developers were like, "Oh, finally!" Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice. I'd like to say that um, as much as we all build amazing stuffs, it's also nice to try out hackathons, right? I think I can also remember my first hackathon ever. I mean, I was barely 2, 3 months into tech, and I mean, we just saw this opportunity to have an hackathon. Myself and a couple of teams were still students then. We jumped on it, and then we did something. We just did something, right? It was obviously solving a problem within our university environment, and yeah, we also came second. Very coincidental. We also came second, and it was something that other people were interested in. They were looking at, of course, a lot of people wanted, to do stuff and all that. But I mean, we never can tell. Working on projects like side projects, hackathons, and all that could be like starting point for some of us. Some very amazing businesses and startups right now started off as an hackathon project, right? So I would say that we should give that best shots when we see opportunities like that. We should try to take hold and do them well. Thank you so much, Olivia. My next question will be: what trends do you see shaping the future of web technologies, and how should the developers prepare for them? Should I come again?
Um, Gen AI is a big thing right now. No, different. Gen AI is a big thing right now. I'm actually using it a lot. I mean, not necessarily like in the way with in my IDEA thing. I use a lot of the web interface for coding. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
so I think Gen AI is going to become big, and we can even see it. It was before the keynote this morning. There was videos of like Google I/O, and they were showing this. Now even in Chrome Dev Tools, you have a Gen AI in it. So when you have like a bug in your code, and it shows in the console, you actually have like an AI button that can tell you what's the error and how to fix it. And I mean, in web developers, we have a lot of issues like different browsers and hey, you can. I mean, you get the dev tools of Chrome. There's everywhere. There's things you can on performance and stuff. And I think we're going to see more and more Gen AI trying to like make it easier for developers not to have to go to the performance panel, the source panel, lighthouse one. I mean, there's all this information in the Chrome Dev tool. I think Jenna is going to
Yeah.
make it easier to understand.
Oh, wow. Okay, so generative AI.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. My last question will be so confidence. Of course, then we'll open the floor for others to ask questions. Um, so the question is, what are the biggest challenges you faced when implementing offline capabilities in web apps? Biggest challenges. Would you just like to answer? Would you? Okay.
So for me, it was learning about these APIs.
Okay.
Something great about being in 2024 is that you all have access to so much information.
Yeah.
Right? So if there's something you want to know, really it's a Google search again. Or in fact, you can ask ChatGPT. And ChatGPT gives you an idea of where to find information from. So not knowing how it worked, it was really easy after the fact. But being able to do some research, use MDN as a resource to figure out how these APIs work, see the code examples, copy paste them into the local app, see if it works, and understand it is really, I'll say, one challenging aspect.
Yeah.
The great thing is that we're having these conversations today. There's a lot of content online now, viewing progressive web apps, there are talks, there are articles. So it's making it less of a challenge because all you have to do now is just search or ask. As we say, ask and it shall be
Given out.
So you just have it's just a search away. The information you need is just a search away and taking out the time to do some research, study that information, put it together into an application that is actually usable to use. It's a bit challenging, but it's an interesting challenge because you have enough resources to get it done.
Yes, thank you so much. Would you also like to answer?
Yeah, I have an anecdote because I recently did a talk on flying on web application, and I think when we do web application right now, the easy thing is that if there's network, it works. If there's not, it doesn't. Um, but I recently did a talk on background sync, which is one of the API of PWA. And I think web developers, by having offline mode, are going to face now the problematic that native developer had. Like for example, background sync is a way of saying, oh, I don't have network. I can still use the application.
Yeah.
But then when the network comes back, it can potentially replay the application. So you have a to-do application, you use it offline. But what happens when you get the network back? It has to, upload things. And it comes to all the complications that you have with it. Like, what if someone in the meantime also changed the data? Do you change it before, but you upload after? All these design problems that you're like, oh, yeah, it wasn't a problem when it was online or offline. So yeah, I think like all these design patterns that come with offline working and then synchronizing are going to be a challenge that web developers are not used to.
Yeah, I agree actually. Thank you so much.
Yes, I was just going to say because for developers, they have an earlier way of thinking about building applications.
Yeah.
Now they're having to think about the state of the applications in multiple different ways at the same time. So it creates that complexity. And really, it's something the industry is trying to figure out. That's why there are best practices and guides and techniques on how to go about it. Really, figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Can we give them a round of applause? So right now, I would like to ask you, so ask them questions. Do we have any question or anyone who has a question for either Olivia or Confidence here? Anybody? Okay, we have 1, 2. Is that all? Why are they only guys? Oh, my ladies. No, I just you know, I identify as many things. Okay, if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 4 questions. That will be all. So,
Okay, my question is first. So, as a developer advocate for AWS has a whole lot of products. So how do you remember all these products? Because or do you just have make okay, maybe you assign two, three, and that's the only one. Any other one you refer to another people. Then do you still code actively? If yes, how do you
I
I
so
can't really balance two projects because of AWS and still coding actively?
okay. How do I remember all the products? I don't. That's easy. Now that's I've worked for startups and for big companies, even like as an advocate, and that's why I like working with like a big company rather than a startup. Because when I was working for a startup, there was just one product, and every time there was something I didn't like in the product, I kind of still had to talk about it. But at AWS, there's like hundreds of services. Some of them I'm convinced we have the best in the industry. Some like that good, but I know that potentially. And that's the thing, because there's so many, there's always some products where I'm sure these are the best and I want to talk about it and I want to show people how they work. So I get to choose. And we have a big team, so we have people who are more like ops, infra, even developers, security. So I get to choose, which is I'm lucky with because it's a big company and because we have enough product that I always find a feature or product where I'm like, oh, that is awesome. I want to talk about it. So I don't have to remember all the products. I get to choose which one I want to talk about. So I code actually I code. So okay, to reply, my job I have 2.5 jobs technically as a developer advocate. Now there's like 2.5 parts of the job. I would say like part of my job is to create content. So it can be like videos, blog, code sample, demo, talks, podcast, whatever. The other part of my job is to work with the services, so the engineering team on with all the feedback I get. I qualify them and then I work with them to try to add them in their roadmaps. And then the last part of the job is what they call us customer zero internally. So every time there's a new product that is going to be launched at some point, a new feature, we are the first team who is trying it. There is no documentation, there is no SDK. We have to build our own in our side and things like that and try to figure out how it works. So we experiment a lot. So I don't code anything that goes into production, but I still code, I would say, 50% of my time, either to create demo or to try this new future feature that may be launched at some point. 50-50.
Thank you. My question is actually a follow-up from one of the questions she asked. She said, "What was like the most challenging part for you guys while in web development?" Actually, my own challenging part is, coming into the tech industry through JavaScript, selecting technologies you're supposed to use. Like take React for instance, introduction to React, you use states to manage states, and then along the line you get to use reducer, like use state. There's a lot of properly you use reducer, context API. Then you still go and you be like Redux, React query. So what do you advise is the best way to choose what technology to learn and what to actually make use of?
Okay, so maybe I start first because really it's a problem everyone faces, right? The truth is these technologies they change every day. So today's next 15, right? It's not. Can you hear me? It's better now, right? Oh, sorry. So I'll put it closer to my mouth. So I was just saying that next is 15 has been released. That's just one framework. Then there's Svelte, there's Remix, there's React. In all those ecosystems, you have libraries that work specifically for each ecosystem. There's a lot to learn, right? So one way I have been navigating it is making sure that my fundamentals are strong. And what are the fundamentals? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you are really grounded in how these core technologies work, it's going to be really easy for you to switch between frameworks because you know how they work under the hood. And if there is something new that has come out, you get to realize that it's just an abstraction over the basics that you already know. So it makes it really easy and it also makes you flexible enough to be able to pick up something new while not forgetting the basics, right? Because it's something you spent a lot of time building yourself on. And maybe once in a while, just try building the product without using the framework and see how it goes. So the web has really matured. I think you were talking about new CSS features that hadn't released and is supported in browsers. So these days, you might actually not even need to use a framework to build a moderately complex application. So like, go back to the basics. If you're really grounded in the fundamentals, you should not have too much issues adapting to using new frameworks um, that come on and off the stage. What are your thoughts?
Personal opinion. No, I agree. Which I think it's a trend we see right now. A lot of people start web development with like directory framework, and which is a shame because I think you need to know how JavaScript. Even me, I mostly coding TypeScript now more than JavaScript. But I think knowing JavaScript is very important, and I see a lot more and more people who go to bootcamp and learn React. Okay, I hate React, but that's another topic. But unless you like to put CSS in arrays and stuff, but that's true. No, I mean because especially React, because React has changed a lot of the HTML and CSS. I mean, every time I do React, I type a class and there's less class name, this kind of thing, you know. So understanding the basic JavaScript is very important. And as in my talk or as Confidence was saying, nowadays you have a lot of technologies that can you don't have to use framework for most of the things. I mean, I do a lot of web component. You can basically web component directly or use lead element, whatever. But building web component, technically the only reason I would need a framework today would be for a router. Other than that, I think everything can be done without a framework. I mean, I always think that even for the router, I think everything can be done without frameworks. So I would go with that.
All right, third question. My name is Hugo Vegas and I'm here. So, please, I don't identify as the stuff I said I identified as. Yeah, the question is a common question, the full stack question. Now, should someone identify as a full stack developer? No, forget the identity question, please. Should someone should someone say he's a full stack developer? I mean, a full stack engineer or anything? Or in the market currently, is there like a demand for full stack developers, or should there actually be demand for full stack developers? Or okay, like the question I'm just dropping all together so you can just answer all at once. Is still on the same line. Like, should someone be a full stack? Like, should you be a full stack? Because some people will come and say, "Oh, I'm a full stack developer, I'm a full stack developer." So I'm asking, is it something someone should say he is, or is it something to actually do? Do you get the question, sir?
Right now, I identify as a confused developer because really, um, but really, saying whether you're a full stack developer or not depends on what you're currently working on, right? Because building full stack applications involves working on the front end component and also the back end component, which most cases is going to be something like a REST API that the application talks to, and probably database and infrastructure and all of that. So it depends on what your current role is. I can remember when I was working with a startup, my job was actually full stack. We had front end in React, we had a back end in Node, it was a GraphQL API, we had to use Hasura, it was really cool. We're using a lot of things, and I had to work on parts of the application across the stack. So it was fine to say I was a full stack developer because really that's what I did at my job. But the next role was a front end job, right? And I was just doing front end piece. Even if I knew how to write back end code, but I'm not working as a full stack engineer anymore. It's a front end role.
So, like in the roles, in which of the roles were you more productive? And which one would you choose, like as a person?
You want me to give my opinion?
Yeah.
Really, this is purely my opinion. I think I enjoy back end. I don't enjoy HTML
Oh, bless you.
much. But it's my opinion. It's my opinion anyway.
Hi everyone. My question is concerning what do you call this stuff? This IoT stuff in general. Because recently I was going through a blog and the person was like, yeah, there's increase in IoT, Internet of Things generally. So I'm asking that, how can I start? Because I'm a network administrator. So I'm looking for how to start or how to get into IoT.
How to get into IoT? That's the question.
Any ideas?
Well, I don't do much IoT these days. Like 3, 4 years ago, I was more into it. I backed too many Kickstarter projects, and most of them you were able to write Python or JavaScript on watches and so it was like things to play with. Um, so I was doing IoT using JavaScript back then, but I don't do much IoT, so
Even myself, not too much, and certainly not professionally, but it's something I've played on by the side. So a while ago, I built a smart home that has all of the IoT gadgets, and it was just for fun. The sensors, the smart lights, the smart fans, and the bulbs and everything. But really, it was for fun. But you find out that these days, you don't have to learn a specific language to. Yeah, you don't have to. If you're already like in the web ecosystem, you don't have to learn a new language to build applications that program IoT devices. So many of these IoT devices have APIs, mostly through HTTP, that you can send requests to by writing JavaScript. So you can actually use JavaScript to control an IoT device. In some cases, you might need to learn something like assembly or C or something else, but it's going to depend on the field of IoT you want to focus on. So is it going to be robotics? Is it going to be home automation? What is it you really want to focus on? So finding what tools and technologies and the stack used for that specific aspect of IoT is going to help because then you have a direction when it comes to technologies to pick up on or things to brush up in so you can get started if that's what your focus is. So do some research, find out what aspect of IoT you want to focus on, and then learn the technologies and tools. And these days, YouTube is a great resource. So the first time I bought a Raspberry Pi a while back while doing my smart home stuff, and it was a device I had never had to use, right? So Google is your friend, YouTube is your friend. If you check online, I'm sure there are hundreds of new tutorials, videos, articles that should guide you. So you just have to search, you just have to ask and find.
and the Raspberry Pi is it's like more computer than IoT per se. It's like an Arduino or something. So if you want to use a Raspberry Pi, you can code in whatever language you want on it. It's a computer. But then if you want to plug things, if what you want to do in IoT is like having an Arduino or like a few devices, like IoT devices for like home automation connected to a Raspberry. The thing is with JavaScript nowadays, you can, especially in the browser, you have like the web Bluetooth, web USB, so you can even control some devices connected to it, to your computer directly. I talk about JavaScript here, but Raspberry Pi is a computer. Use your favorite language.
Okay, thank you so much, Olivia, and your confidence. Can we give them a round of applause? That will be the end of our session here. Thank you, everyone. You have a question. Finally, a lady. Please, everybody, clap your hands. Thank you.
Okay, currently, good evening, everybody. So currently, there's been a lot of conversations about AI taking people's jobs and all that. And then a couple of times I've had to like speak with people, and they're like, "Oh, AI is not going to take your job. What AI is going to do is people who know how to people who know how to use AI are the ones who are going to do the job." My question is, at the point where every single person knows how to like use AI for their jobs, what distinguishes the person? What makes the person a better developer than the next person? That's the first question. talking about it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. It said that the people who are going to have the jobs in the future are people who are able to use AI, right? So when we get to that point, what makes when we get to a point where every single person knows how to use AI, what makes a person a better developer? What makes me a better developer than this guy?
That's very specific.
Yeah. I'm not giving you an analogy. Then secondly, what is the future of tech? Is this still a thing for someone to go learn web development? And someone who is trying to transition into tech, I feel like 7 out of 10 persons are doing software development. And there's this talk about market saturation, right? What's the future of tech?
So it sounds
Yeah.
like two questions.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we can start by taking the first one. You guys see AI technology in general is a tool, right? And in most cases, tools. Is this louder? I think it's just my voice. It's my voice, right? So, um, so it's a tool, and tool needs people to make use of it. It's a tool to help us get work done faster. But what makes it different from other tools, what makes it stand out is it's a tool that can automate the process of thinking itself, right? So it's an automation tool, but one that is in a level different from what most people or what most tools are. But really, it's a tool that automates processes, and part of programming itself is automating systems. So at some point, the computer is going to be good enough to write the code it needs to get stuff done or to automate stuff. And at that point, we probably wouldn't need to program computers anymore. Or maybe the roles available at that time will be guiding these AI systems to automate building applications. But the truth is that it is still a tool, and as such, it will require human guidance because it's the human that tells the tool what to get done and give it guidance on how to achieve it. Right? So that's how I see it, and of course, over time it's going to change. So it's an interesting time we live in, and we want to see how these tools and systems evolve.
I don't have much to add, but I agree. It's, AI is just another tool, and through my career, I've seen. I mean, when I started, there was no such thing as IDE, and the IDE came and it was like, oh, you need to know how to use them. And now you expect every developer you hire to know how to use an IDE and not be on the theme or Emacs.
I'm on Vim.
But you expect people to know the tools. I mean, you don't. It's like you go back 20 years ago or 30 years ago. You'd be like, oh, we are hiring someone. Do you require the person to know how to use the internet and a search engine? Yeah, nowadays you expect that. So it's just another tool that was going to increase your productivity. I mean, when I started programming, there was no internet. I learned from a book. And the internet came, and it was like, oh, books are going to disappear, training going to disappear because everything. School is going to disappear. We're going to learn to go online. Cannot do. But then, we're still here, so I just see it as another tool in the toolbox. Then, in 10, 15 years, I don't know, but nowadays, it's just another tool for to help developers. But I think it's going to be important. I still think that in the near future, we're going to expect people, or at least the people, to know how to prompt engineer, are going to have better chance to get hired or to get a job than the one who don't.
Yeah, so prompt engineering is key. I think that's like the basics of AI. Yes, everybody can use AI, but does everybody know how to use it efficiently? There are some specific prompt questions. I mean, you can have a question and you just ask ChatGPT and it gives you like a pistol. An epistle of plenty things that you don't necessarily need. But prompt engineering gives you enables you to know specific questions, specific prompts to ask the AI to give you the required answers that you need. So I guess yeah, that answer. I think there was a second question. I'm not sure.
Was it market saturation?
Market saturation of web development. possible roles that will come up in the future in web development, in tech generally. Okay.
One that is okay. Oh yes, sure. So going back to the conversation we're having about AI, I know a new role that has become more popular or more common because people are building AI apps is a role called AI engineering.
Yeah.
You must AI engineering. Yeah, if you go check on LinkedIn right now, you see a lot of jobs. Companies hire AI engineers. It's a new job role that was created as a result of the rise in AI. So why not? It's just one example, and I'm sure that because AI continues to grow and more people continue to use it, there will be many other opportunities opened around spaces in tech when it comes to programming. In actual the technical side, training. We're talking about ethics and security when it comes to securing these AI systems. So it's changing the job market. It's not necessarily putting an end to certain rules, but it's changing the job market such that it's creating more opportunities while some are becoming obsolete. It's creating way more than it's taking. So it's for us to change our perspective on what an engineer should be able to do or what engineering is and use these tools to actually get the work done.
Yeah, I think that's like a perfect question. I mean, perfect answer to the question. Thank you so much, Confidence. And with this, we come to the end of our AMA with Olivia and Confidence. Let's give them a round of applause.